Elastic collisions. In an elastic collision, and I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm emphasizing elastic here, but that's the only way I can make sure it doesn't sound like inelastic collision. So in an elastic collision, two objects collide and bounce off each other, and both momentum and kinetic energy are conserved. So here's the before picture. We have two objects moving towards each other, each with their own momentum, mv. Then they hit and bounce off. And the only thing different between here and this equation is we have the prime, which means after the collision that's the momentum, and after the collision that's velocity. And you have the same thing for B. If we know the masses and any two of the velocities, we have two conservation equations. Conservation of momentum and conservation of kinetic energy will enable us to calculate the other two velocities. Okay, let's do some fun algebra to derive. We're looking at this equation here. All right, this equation pops out of using conservation of momentum and conservation of kinetic energy and solving them at the same time. And let's just go right to the end and tell you what we're looking for. This tells you that the relative velocity of the two objects as they approach each other is equal to the negative of the relative velocity after they go apart. Okay, because this thing here could also be written as this, minus v1 prime minus v2 prime. Okay, this is a very handy equation when you have elastic collisions. So let's start with conservation of momentum. The first thing we're going to do is get all the m1s on one side and the m2s on the other. And we do that by subtracting m1 v1 prime from both sides and by subtracting m2 v2 from both sides. So we have m1 v1 minus m1 v1 prime equals m2 v2 prime minus m2 v2. So all we did was put the same mass on the same side. And what we can then do, since m1 is in both terms, we're going to factor it out. So we have m1 times v1 minus v1 prime equals m2 times v2 prime minus v2. Now let's go to kinetic energy, conservation thereof. What is the same in every one of those? The half, right? So we can cancel the half out. So it's gone. So we now have the half is gone. Now we'll do the same trick that we did over here. We'll put all the m1s on one side and the m2s on the other. So that is right here. And then we factor out the m1 and the m2. So what do we do next? Isn't this cool? Do you guys remember what this looks like? It probably a lot of letters there and numbers, so it might be a little confusing, but how about we write it like this? A squared minus b squared. It's one of my favorite things you can factor. What's that equal to? Well, that's a plus b times a minus b. So if you look at this, you know what? We've got too much ink there, so let me just erase some of that. Try and make it a little clearer. There we go. We have v1 squared minus v1 prime squared. So that will be v1 plus v1 prime times v1 minus v1 prime. On the right side, we have v2 prime squared and v2 squared. So that's going to be v2 prime plus v2 times v2 prime minus v2. And here's the trick. With simultaneous equations, you can divide them and still be valid. So we take this guy here, put him on the top, and then we take our conservation of momentum, and let me erase again. Even though I love that factor, it's getting in our way right now. And we will take this equation, put it in the denominator. You can check with your math teacher, this is legit. What happens? On the left side, m1 cancels out, and also, and here's where that factoring came in handy, the v1 minus v1 prime cancels out. Similarly, on the other side, m2 cancels out, and v2 prime minus v2, and we're left with this. v1 prime, v1 plus v1 prime equals v2 prime plus v2, and then we just rewrite it. And what have we done? We put all the guys before the collision on one side, which is v1 minus v2, and then the primes, which are the velocities after the collision on that side. For all elastic collisions, regardless of the masses of the objects, how cool is that? There's no mass there. The mass doesn't matter. It divided out. The objects will separate after the collision with the same relative speed that they collided with. And when I solve the problems, I like doing this. I think I did put that on the previous page. So v1 prime minus v2 prime. It's the same thing. These two are equal. But what I like is I lead both parentheses with v1. It just helps me keep track of the velocities. What if I have an elastic collision between two objects of identical masses? What happens? Well, in that case, v1 prime is equal to v2 and v2 prime equals v1. And you'll see that if you ever play billiards or shoot pool, if you have one object, you hit the cue ball, it's not moving, and you hit another object, that object, the other ball, takes off with the same velocity that the cue ball had, and the cue ball stops. So you're exchanging velocities. There's another special case where you have an elastic collision where one object, in that case this is m1, is much, much bigger than m2, much more massive than m2. And let's say m2 is at rest and the first mass has a velocity v1. After the collision, the smaller object will take off with twice the velocity of the big object. And the big object will basically keep its same speed. It'll slow down a teeny bit, but you won't even notice it. So when you work problems, the bigger object, the much more massive object, maintains its velocity, and the smaller object, when it starts at rest, takes off with twice the initial velocity of the large object. And let's see what we have here. There's a demo to use a transfer of momentum between a massive object and a very small mass. So you have a link there, and then you have a video below to show you how to facilitate the demonstration. Consider two cars, one with the velocity v1 and the other with velocity v2 as observed by a person sitting by the side of the road. The driver of either car will see the other car moving at a relative velocity of v1 minus v2, and this is a vector. Rearrange the equation from the previous slide that describes the relative velocities of two objects before and after an elastic collision. Here's what it is. v1 minus v2 is equal to v2 prime minus v1 prime. We want to get v1 minus v2 directly related to v1 prime minus v2 prime. So you just factor out a negative and that switches them around. That shows for all elastic collisions, regardless of their masses, the mass doesn't matter here. The magnitude of the initial relative velocity and the final relative velocity, also known as speed, is the same. When our two conservation equations, kinetic energy and momentum, are solved in a slightly different manner, and we're going to do that in AP1 and APC, in that case the masses won't be eliminated. Three special cases of elastic collisions can be described. Special case 1. In an elastic collision between two objects of identical masses, the two objects exchange velocities. So v1 prime will equal the initial velocity in v2, and v2 prime, the velocity of object 2 after the collision, equals the initial velocity of v1. So here it is, where the two objects approaching each other, they both have the same mass, and afterwards, see here's v1, m2 after the collision goes off with that v2 prime, which is equal to v1. Notice how the length of the vectors are the same and in the same direction. And m1 rebounds, and its v1 prime, its final velocity, look at that. It's equal in magnitude and direction to what m2 was doing before the collisions. They switch velocities. In an elastic collision where one object is much more massive than the other, the velocity of the smaller mass after the collision will be about twice that of the more massive objects, while the more massive object's velocity will be almost unchanged. So here's a very massive object, m1. Here's a small mass object, m2, at rest. m1 is approaching m2 at v1. After the collision, m1 barely slows down. Of course it slows down a little bit to have momentum conserved, but we're going to assume it's pretty close to the same velocity. Then, when that occurs, the really light mass takes off at twice the initial velocity of the large mass. And our final special case, an elastic collision where a small mass object collides elastically with a more massive one at rest. The massive object barely moves, and the small mass object rebounds with the same magnitude of its initial velocity, just in the opposite direction, and that's where the negative sign comes in. The extreme case of this is you have a very bouncy rubber ball, like a Spalding. Go ahead and ask your parents or grandparents what a Spalding is. And you throw it at a wall, it bounces right back at you with roughly the same speed. Two objects, M1 and M2, have an elastic collision. The initial velocity of M1 is plus 8 meters per second, and of M2, negative 4.0 meters per second. After the collision, the velocity of M1 is 5 meters per second. What is the velocity of M2? We write our givens over here, and then this is not one of the three special cases, but this is the first one we came up with before the three special cases, the relative velocity. So this is for any elastic collision regardless of mass. So we put in our values. V1 is 8, V2 is negative 4, and make sure you remember the negative in front of it. And then on the other side, it's a minus V1 prime minus V2 prime, all of that within the same parentheses. So the right side turns into 8 minus a minus 4, that's 12. On the right side, you distribute the negative sign, so you have a negative 5 meters per second plus V2 prime. Solve that for V2 prime, and you get 17 meters per second.